Hi, everyone. Um, Tough game for us. They shot it well. They're a good team. They played better than us tonight. But I'm very proud of the team that I have and the way they handled themselves throughout the year, and happy to be here in Cleveland.
West or South, back left.
Andrew will be at WB. Prior to you guys, just what was Miami doing so well defensively that was kind of throwing you guys off today?
I think they just use a lot of their body to, make it a little harder for our drives. And also, as we could see, as we do drive in there, they go and trap and kind of leave somebody open, which makes it a little harder to find those shooters or open players. So I think just them being in certain positions in certain places kind of helped them a little bit better than it did us tonight.
Yeah, front left.
I'm London Mark of the Post. Miami shot 50% from three today. How do you guys think you could have done better on defending it?
Come on, you gotta get that.
Really just us being more efficient with getting out to stuff, just trying to take away more plays, really.
Yeah, front left.
Tyler Cavaliers, Falcon Media Sports Network. Question for you guys. It felt like early on Miami kind of established some dominance down in the paint, got 5 quick second chance points. How do you think that affected the early parts of the game with their momentum?
I don't think it really affected it. We knew that they had a post presence, so it's just like, okay, this is what they want to do. So now we know, okay, they got a few touches, so now we got to stop them. So, we tried to do that as much as we could.
Yeah, front left.
You guys scored some 19 turnovers today, but were only able to capitalize off less than half of them. How do you think you could have done at any points on the turnovers?
Just more after we get and really just go pursue and go down and score.
Yeah, back left.
Obviously, not the result, not the way you want to end this season, but this team was not projected to even be here. To get here, to be one of the final 4 standing, just what does that say about the group and what you guys were able to accomplish this season?
I think it just, shows us and tells us that we can do it. I think that, as we were the underdogs coming in, and just being here today, I'm happy in the spot that we are. Of course, it didn't go the way that we wanted it to, but, we played a great season, and, we're ready for the next one. We'll be back here next season, and we're ready to work still.
Go ahead, that left.
Asia really just touched base on everything. It's a huge turnaround from last year, and we're very proud of ourselves.
Yeah, front left.
Monica, despite the loss, you led the team with 18 points today when your second start of the season. How did that feel?
It felt great, just kind of getting back used to what I used to do before my injury, and it just kind of felt good just to score and trying to get my team involved.
Any more questions for student athletes? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question for Coach Bolden. Yeah, back left.
Coach, just what did you feel was so different today from the game a couple days ago?
We didn't shoot it as well. They shot it better. I thought they did a really good job with their energy and their tempo. And I thought once we settled in, I thought we had it under control. And then they just, sometimes when you get good teams going, it's really hard to stop them. They're really hard to stop no matter what. And then once they start making shots, they put shooters all over the floor. And they just put a lot of stress on your defense, and you can try to take certain things away, and they're well coached, and they play well together, and they move the basketball. They had 21 assists today. That's really, really good, and it's how they played all year. I thought when we played them in Athens, we were able to disrupt that a little bit, the timing, and tonight we just weren't able to. We weren't really able to get into them at all and disrupt what they were doing, and the results were them making a bunch of shots.
Front left.
You guys had 15 turnovers in yourselves. How do you think you could have done a better job of protecting the ball?
Well, you always, with them, those guys were talking about, they're going to be in passing lanes. And so you've got to be patient. You've got to be willing to read screens, and you've got to be willing to read the second cuts. And, it's not going to be there's no easy passes against them. So you have to make sure that you're deliberate in what you're doing and you're strong with the basketball and getting it to where you want it to get to. And sometimes they force you sometimes to play some long possessions, which isn't what we like to do. And they force you into playing. Sometimes it takes you 15, 20, 25 seconds to generate a shot. And they're good at it. They're good on both sides of the ball, and they certainly were tonight.
Miami got a lot of kick out to the corners, open three-point looks.
Mhm.
Felt like they kind of played against your zone pretty well in those situations.
Mhm.
Felt like you sat in the zone for a lot of the game. Was there thought of moving out of that, or do you guys think you did play in your zone against them?
Yeah, there were a lot of thoughts. You're just trying to figure out ways to slow down their momentum, and unfortunately, as you guys mentioned, they got off to a good start with some easy stick backs, or not easy, but they got some stick backs, and then we corrected that rebounding problem a little bit as the game went on, but we unleashed another problem along the way, and we couldn't quite. It's like you stick your hole in there, and then the water's coming out over here, and the water's coming out over there. It's just too much of it. They're just too skilled and too talented, and like I said, they when they get things going, they're really, really good.
Back left. Right there, right above.
No, Bailey scored 33 on Wednesday. Obviously struggled tonight. What was Miami doing that really limited her today?
I thought they did a good job of staying in her space. She didn't get very many easy looks, and I thought they did a really good job of, they chased a lot of her screens, so she wasn't able to pop back many screens, but. They did a good job of getting in her space, and they did a good job of guarding the other players. We had a hard time freeing her up today.
Far back middle.
I know there's going to be a lot of talk about the threes in this game, but last week Treader and the threes got a lot of foul trouble today. I don't think they really had a problem with that. What was different there?
They made them. I don't know. I don't know. I would have to. I mean, surely. I mean, we made some defensive mistakes, and they capitalized on them. And some of it, it's all a matter of perspective. You could say it was bad defense. You could say it was good offense. It's probably a combination of the middle somewhere. And then at some point, it was just kids making shots. I mean, they're good. Don't lose that part in the story. Like, these guys are good. They're the 1 seed, right? Well, they accidentally become the 1 seed. They've won a lot of games, and they've shot it well all year. It's not like this is like all of a sudden they shot it well. They've shot it well from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. When you play them, they have a post presence, as Asia said, and then they got shooters all around them, and you got to try to take some things away. And I felt at times tonight we took nothing away, and that's when we really got in trouble. It's one thing if you're guarding really well inside and you're giving up some threes, or you're taking away the threes, but you're giving stuff up inside. And tonight at times we looked like we were giving up points every way imaginable, and that's what you can't do against them. Is you gotta try to make them one-dimensional, I think, as best you can. And tonight we were not able to do that.
Back middle.
Riri Jennings with 2 blocks and 15 total bench points. Talk a little bit about how the bench performed today, despite the struggles.
Yeah, I thought they did well. I mean, this group, we've never really talked much about starters or non-starters or whatever. We just play kids and put them in, and this group in particular has done a great job of just going in the game and trying their best. And sometimes it's tough as a bench player. You sit there and you're just waiting for your number to be called, and you're waiting and waiting, and sometimes you have to keep waiting. But I thought our kids tonight that came off the bench, just as they have all year, they've come in and given us a great effort. And typically, they've given us a lot of energy. And I thought Riri did that tonight.
With Amber Treader, she's just a tough matchup for a lot of teams in the conference. Another double-double. How tough is it to scheme against a player like that when she gets in the paint with the shooters that they have on the outside?
Yeah, and her versatility, right? I mean, she made a 3 tonight. She got 5 offensive rebounds. She had 5 assists. Like, she did everything that you'd want your player to do. I mean, she was awesome. And as you mentioned, like that, the number of shooters they put around her complement her skill set, and they're a tough guard. And tonight today, I should say, we proved how tough they are to guard.
I got time for a couple more. From left.
Despite poor shooting from the 3, you guys kept shooting. Was there any thought of abandoning that
No.
strategy, or?
No, we probably didn't shoot enough of them. No, we didn't get here. I mean, that's who we are. We have an identity, and you know, I'm really proud of the way that this team came together from the beginning of the year to now, and this game obviously did not go like we wanted it to, and that makes me sad, but that doesn't take away from everything that this team has done up to this date, and I'm proud of the way they did it, and I'm proud of the way they handled themselves throughout this game. As you can imagine, you wake up this morning, you think, golly, we might be playing in the conference finals tomorrow, and then to have this game happen, I thought our kids handled themselves with grace and class, and I couldn't be more proud of the group that I coach.
All star in their roles, and they're highly intelligent people, and I felt like they really positioned our kids, this game to where they were very confident, therefore, they were out there and they were able to be them, which is physical and fast and fly around. You can do that when you're confident. And the first game, I mean, we just lost. I don't want to get too much into it, but we lost, and level of confidence, coming into this game, I felt like we were going to guard them. It was more so on the other side of the ball, and obviously our kids they fell in a level of comfort, in preparation, and because obviously they executed really well. They knew exactly what to look for. It was like those shots they were scripted. They were ready in rhythm. And that's what you want. I'm very, very prideful of the fact that our guards did a good job as far as, we had 19 turnovers, but that team plays so unorthodox. They take almost reckless, silly chances. They're a different type of prep. And our kids, for the most part, we had a couple stretches where we struggled, but for the most part, they did enough, to definitely get us to the win.
Coach, last week Ohio was scoring pretty easily. This week or today, they didn't really do that. What was the biggest defensive change for you guys that allowed you to be so dominant?
I just think that we devoted more time to it. A couple things, so we won the first of all, we only practice 4 hours a week, and probably half of that for us are walkthroughs. I'm really high on energy, and I reward them with their effort with lack of practice time. And so you combine that, knowing that we celebrated on Wednesday and we were probably not in a great place on Thursday, for prep, and we probably were really feeling really good about ourselves on Friday, and and some other things, and it set us up for a tough ball game, because all these game winning's really hard. Like, it's hard, and all these teams have good players. They're out there. All these kids have good players, and all it takes is for you to not be ready, and for somebody to get you. And it was a rivalry game, more so for them, because for us, we've accomplished a lot thus far. But they had, the thing that they had right on it was a rivalry game, and they were excited, and and we I don't think we were really truly ready. This game, I felt like we were really truly ready.
Back right.
What specifically have you seen from Clara shooting the ball, and were you more that you thought you could get open threes against the zone, like whether the corners or the wings?
Well, what Clatta, first of all, Clatta has scored before, so it's in her. But really, she didn't say it, but she could credit my AD, because he saw something in her shot, and I relayed it to her, and she started working on it, and she's been much better since. And so, she's very confident. The big thing about coaching Clatta is, like, you don't want to mess her up, because she's different than the rest of the kids. She's a one-on-one player. Her game is so different from the other kids. And so a large part of this year has been because we play a really team-oriented game on both sides of the ball. And really used to that. And, you know, it's been hard for our kids to learn how to play with her. And now I think there's been a mutual come together between our team and her, you know, to come to a good place to where, you know what, she feels like, you know what, this is how I can incorporate my game with, you know, how we're doing. And our kids, they see things in her. And so it's been a beautiful thing to watch her evolve here, because she's a much better player than where she was before. And, you know, and I told her she would be. And I'm glad that it came to, you know, fruition.
Front right.
Coach, over halfway to go in the fourth quarter, all 5 starters on the bench comfortably.
Yeah.
On top of that, freshman Anna Hurst checks in and hits the big 3, and everyone's excited. What does that mean for the team and, you know, helping the younger players?
Well, first of all, I'm scared to death all the way till the second 2 minutes to go, you know, because that's a dangerous team. I've seen them be down, I think, 18 and come back and be up 22 in like 5 minutes against Eastern Michigan. So my sense of urgency is really high, and me trying to share that with the kids, I think it was really, really important. As far as Anna, you know, the thing that I talk about on our team all the time is that everyone has value. And I try to remind them of that all the time. You might play 2 minutes one game, you might play 22 the next. It's just the way that I coach. And, you know, it's up to you to figure it out, you know, and I try to help you figure it out. A kid like Anna has been the perfect walk-on, you know, and she's come here. She's, just so you know, like, she doesn't get any practice time with the team. You know, every blue moon when we don't have enough practice guys, she'll be on the scout team. But she gets lots of mental reps. And at the end of the day, I don't want any excuses. Your job is to do your job. And if you're out there for 20 seconds and you're supposed to defend, you better defend. And she works hard. And, you know, our kids, they recognize her value. So when you see them celebrating, it's genuine, because they know what she goes through every day. And I know that role is very difficult, you know, and she shows up every day. But I just, you know, she's been a wonderful, you know, kid to be around. I think she's great, you know, for our atmosphere. And I think she's fantastic for Emily Van Timmeren. And, you know, I just don't have enough good things to say about Anna.
Probably got time for a couple more front left.
16 three-pointers made, tied for the second most in the game in program history. You had the most in a game against Ohio earlier in the season, so 3 of the top 4 most three-pointers game coming against your rivals. How big is that to do it against that team, and how big is it to do it on a stage like this?
It's big because today we needed to have it. You know, we just simply took what they gave us. You know, we didn't come out of character for those shots. You know, this team can really shoot the basketball. You know, there's a lot of chance from game to game. All you could do is put yourself in the best position possible to do what you do and let your work speak for itself. And, you know, today happened, and those opportunities presented themselves, and our kids were ready to take advantage.
Left middle.
Coach, you guys kind of put the hammer down a spot in the first half where you're hitting threes,
Yeah.
They come out and guard you, you go to the inside score there, they start packing the paint, you go out and hit threes again. What's it like for you and your staff just knowing that you're kind of pushing all the right buttons when you stretch the lead out to 20 and just see your kids go out and execute that?
It feels good. Feels good. You know, we want to, this is a beautiful game when it's played right. And when you have everyone working in synchronization, and, you know, you definitely felt that today. And this, of all games, is a very difficult game to have that feeling, you know, with how they play. And I just have to say, like, you know, it's not every day you're hitting on all cylinders. And we, you know, we had some turnovers, but we did some really good things today on both sides of the ball.
Last two, far right and over there, far right first.
You're the #1 seed. You're entering the championship game tomorrow. You're one step away from going dancing. How do you help maintain not have that pressure for you and for your players? What are you going to work on between now and teach the kids?
Well, for us, it's about 3 one-game winning streaks. We keep talking about that. I think I'm a very intense individual. And so it's important for me to remain consistent with the team. And, you know, when we walk out of that locker room, it's they have to feel my sense of urgency. And, you know, we talk about that U word all the time. That's probably the most popular word we use around here. And so we don't want to take anything for granted. You know, we want it's quick turnaround. But now it's time to go. You know, Ball State, Toledo, they're both really good teams. You know, they're well coached. You know, we know that it's going to take, you know, a big effort. But I strongly feel like, you know, when we play our best basketball, we're the best team. I feel very confident in my group, you know, in our group. And I know that they're going to be prepared and ready to go. We'll make some, you know, some adjustments from last game. And, you know, we're going to bring it, man.